can be a drag. Oh yeah, sometimes life can be a drag. So when that happens, baby, you know, I pull out the Stag. Oh yeah, you know, sometimes I get really down. Oh yeah, sometimes I can get really down. So I pull out the Stag, spread them all around. Yeah, life can be a stag. Yes, indeed, my friends. Thanks for joining me here. In this episode here, that's just a little ditty that I threw together, and thought I'd have a little fun with it. But so if you like Stag knives, if you're a knife guy, there's a lot of channels out there. Everybody's showing all this stuff and back and forth and whatnot. But yeah, I've got I pulled out most of this. Everything you're going to see here is all from Solingen, Germany, the city of blades. German Stag knives. And most folks would tell you that the early German Stag knives are just the cream of the crop. And I have to agree. I'm going to kind of go through them here. I hope you enjoy it. Hit the sub tab if you want. If you don't, I don't care. Don't matter to me. I'm just sharing a little history and some, some nice old knives here. Yeah, there's about 4 companies, 4 knife factories that I'm going to focus on here. And I've got a representative of every one laid out on a table. And I'm talking the oldest pocket knife company in the world is Boer. Boer over in Solingen, Germany. They're like 350 some years old, folks. But in 1837 in New York, a Boer opened up a little outlet in New York City. And so a lot of the Boer knives and things started flooding into the United States over on the East Coast in the 1800s. And this is a extremely old Boer. Most of you have never seen a Boer this old. And this is a really, really rare Boer folding knife here. If you can kind of see that little tree stamp right there. The early Boers, that's all they had, were just a little tree stamp, and it varied. This knife dates from 1870 to 1890, right after the Civil War. And it's a wonderful knife, folks, tight as can be. It's got a cool bail to it. This is a cowboy knife, guaranteed. This knife went through the Old West. Yeah. It's a cool knife. This is an early Boer. You just don't run across these. Yeah, this is an early knife, folks. I have another one I'm going to show you here. Another Boer. This big boy here, this is a recent find a week ago. Stumbled into an antique store, hadn't been in 6 months. Kind of a junky little shop. This was in a case for $25. I cleaned it up a little bit. It was a little dirty. I offered $20 and I walked out with it. Folks, this is another Boer, another very early one from the same time period. This thing is a bear trap. The tree stamp is just parts of it is visible. But this thing is a monster. This is what you would consider a German folding Bowie knife from 1870 to 1890. You can just see all the early hand forging on it. That nail nick there and stuff. Yeah, this is larger, quite a bit larger than a buck knife or a Cattaraugus King of the Woods. This is a honking knife. 1870 to 1890, this knife went through the Old West too, folks. Yeah, this is a incredible knife. So blessed to run across it like I did. If you like Stag knives, I'm going to share some more with you here. Yeah, Boer, man. Let's see, I think I have another Boer in here. Amy, no, that's an Anton Othello. This one here's Boer. Yeah, this is a Boer knife right here. Yeah, see that? It's a newer one. Look at that. This is a kind of a Spanish Arbolito style Boer. The sheath for this thing is really, really cool. It's kind of a little nifty, tiny little sheath like that. And this is a kind of a knife that a Spaniard would have carried, in the Southwest. Beautiful Stag again, folks. Yeah, wonderful knife. Probably from the late 60s, early 70s, maybe. Yeah, that's another Boer. Let's see. I think that might be it for the Boers. Is this one a Boer here? No, that's a Puma. All right, let's get into the Pumas. Puma Works started in, what was it, 1888? Or somewhere in there. Somewhere in the maybe mid-1800s or so. Puma Work over there in the City of Blades, Solingen, Germany, goes back a long ways too. And this is probably the most, fabled, well-known Puma knife of all time. This is the White Hunter. Yeah, and this is from 1968. It's the premium time frame. Late 60s into the early 70s is what you want. And look at the Stag on this. Yeah, and so Puma Works, man. Made knives, for the wars and fighting knives and military knives. And in the early 1953, big game hunters in Africa got together with Puma Works and collaborated to design specialized premium hunting knives, and this was the first one. This is the one they came up with, folks, in the mid-50s. Yeah, cool knife, huh? I don't have the original sheath with this. I found this knife in Fallon, Nevada, in a pawn shop for $120 2 years ago. And it was in this sheath here. This sheath was made by a Paiute Indian that's passed away now. He was a knife maker, and he did the leather too. He made some nice knives. They had a few of his knives, but I saw this for $120 out the door. I snatched it up. This sheath is just, it's a cat's meow, folks. It's as good as you get right there. Yeah. Puma Works. Here's another Puma. We'll stick with Puma here. This is a Jadnicker from about 71. Love the shield on this Stag. Again, this is the premium period for Stag on these Pumas. But I tell you, these Puma knives, their design and their ergonomics is just the best ever, man. I'm telling you. Puma made, to me, they made the best hunting knives, bar none, my book. Any more Pumas here? I think I've got a couple more here. That's not, what is this one here? Here's a Puma here. It's a later one. This is the Mule Deer Hunter. This isn't Stag. This is just smooth bone. Later one, but a beautiful, beautiful later period hunting knife. You know, still made in Solingen, Germany. Cool sheath with this one here. Where is it? Yeah, it's this one here, man. There's your Puma cat right there. Yeah. Beautiful knife. All right, let's look at a, is that it for the Pumas? I've got the sheath for this one here. Look at this sheath. Yeah. Is that sweet, man? Look at that. Yeah, you're not going to run across knives like this every day if you're out hunting for knives. You'll find a lot of, you'll find a lot of stuff from Colonial and, and this and that. Inexpensive. The good knives are getting hard to come by anymore. Is that okay? Let's get into now. You know what? I've got another Puma here. Let's finish it off with the Puma Bowie. This is later, late 70s. Puma Bowie. Get in the late 70s, around 1980, the Stag was not quite as good. Still a wonderful knife, and again, just a cool knife. This is kind of more of a Bowie fighting knife, although you could hunt with it. Cool knife. Where's the? I got a sheath. Oh, I got the original Puma sheath for this one here, dating to about 1970 or so, 71. Yeah. There's your cat. The cat's meow. All right, let's get into another fabled Solingen knife company, and I'm talking about Anton Wingen Jr., the Othello knives. And I've got the original trapper knife here, folks. This is very rare. This is pre-World War II. It's from the 30s. This is the cream of the crop. This is the very first version of it. Super rare. This knife is worth some cash. Look at the deep engraving on this thing. And I ran across this in a pawn shop, and I walked out for $60, man, with the original sheath, believe it or not. They continued making this all the way into probably the 60s or 70s, but nothing like like the early one, like this. Pre-World War II. Pretty special knife. Now this, they call it the original trapper knife, but this was actually used in the military. Some of the German soldiers in World War II were carrying these. So this is that's kind of the cool thing about this particular model here. But it is just a cutlery par excellence knife. The Stag is just unbelievable. And the balance and the grip doesn't get any better than this. And check out the sheath for this one. Yeah, 1930s. Probably made around the mid-30s, 35, 36, 37, right in there. Look at that. All right, I got another one here. Let's see. I think I have some more Anton Wingen Othello knives. That company was started by Anton Wingen Sr., but Anton Wingen Jr. really took the company over. By the turn of the century, they were really producing fine cutlery. And so let's take a look here. Is this, yeah, here's another Othello knife. There's your little Othello stamp. Yeah, look at that Stag. Now this knife here dates, this is a later one, probably 60s. Henley and Company, Germany, was an importer back east, and they imported cutlery after World War II. So this is probably early 60s and just mint condition. This is in the form of a fighting knife. It's in the form of the early Puma daggers in a way. And I have the original sheath for this one. Check this out. Look at that. The guard and everything slides down in it. Yeah. Yeah. The City of Blades. Isn't that cool? Any more Anton Wingen? Yeah, I got another one here. There's your little Othello character. This is made in the 50s, right after World War II. And this is your typical Stag German hunting style knife that you run across. They made millions of these. But if you can find them that were made by Boer or Anton Wingen or Henkels or one of the good major companies, you're going to get a lot better knife, because a lot of them were just, when you got into the 50s and 60s and some of these 70s and 80s, they're not that great a quality, but this one's really sweet. And I have the original sheath for this nice little bird and trout kind of a blade here. Yeah, there's that original typical sheath from the 50s. Let's see if I can slide that in. Yeah. Yeah, it's another Othello right there. Yeah, I already showed this one here, that Boer. I've got, what one was this? Okay, this is a Linder made by Boer. Boer Knife Company went on to make a and they still do. They manufacture a lot of quality knives for and they're branded with other names. And this is a typical German kind of a hunting style knife here. And I'm not sure the date on this. I'm going to say early 70s, late 60s or so. Got the original sheath for this one. Yeah, isn't that sweet? Yeah, let's see here. I got one more big boy to show you here. Here's the sheath for it. This is a recent find, and I'm talking about Henkels Twin Works. J.A. Henkels goes way back, folks. Way back, early 1800s. 1888, they started up a outlet here in the United States, over in New York area. Henkels buoys are not common. They're kind of hard to run across. This one here is probably from the 60s. But look at that Stag. Tapered tang on that. Silver guard. And here's the sheath. And I picked this up the day that I picked up that monster folder there from 1870 era. There she is, folks. Yep. All right, let's see. Back in here, I'm going to go ahead and and stick with some really, really cool Stag. This one here is from, I believe, the 60s or 50s, and this looks like a switchblade, but it's not. But look at that nice, sweet Stag. And this was actually made in Italy, Edge Company, and this is a really cool locking little dirk here, little folding dirk. Push on that to unlock it. Found this in an antique shop in Nevada. Didn't pay a lot for it. I think I paid $10. I've got a true switchblade here, folks. This one here is I've got it wrapped right here because this thing bit me one time. It works great, functions fine, but for storage I kind of keep it wrapped. I'm not going to fling that blade open, but this one here was made in early 60s. Wonderful Stag switchblade made in Italy. Can't remember the maker. One of the well-known switchblade makers over there in Italy. And then I've got a couple more. I got one more Stag buoy. This one here. This is kind of the typical German Solingen Stag hunting knife that you're going to run across. This one here probably dates to the late 50s. And I have a sheath for it somewhere. You know, it's got the little nut pommel on it. And these make great hunting knives, great steel. But this one's unmarked. Who knows who made it, but it came over there from the city of Blades and imported over here in the 50s or early 60s. I've got a, this is not Stag, but this is a German throwing knife. They were famous for producing throwing knives, and this is a cool piece here. Yeah, that's a Solingen knife. And I got one more, and this is really cool, folks. This is a German-style leather grip hunting knife that you'll run across. But take a look at that blade. This is from the 50s, early 50s. See this blade style here? That's rare. But you will see that on a few of the German hunting knives. This is a unique blade style. You can look it up. Just Google German hunting knives, and you'll run across a few that were made in this style here, made with this style of ball silver mount pommel. This is an early knife because this is silver here. That's German silver there. Again, this is the pommel nut style. Beautiful, beautiful blade. I have the original sheath for this one too. But so anyway, yeah, let's go ahead and end it here. We're gonna go ahead and end it here. Yep. Thanks for watching, everyone. We are going to go ahead and what is going on with my volume? Oh well. Yeah, there it is. Kind of lost the volume on that. Oh yeah.
You know, sometimes I get really down.
Sometimes I can get really down.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes I can get really down.
I can get really down.
So I pull out the Stag.
Spread them all around. All right, everybody. Take care. Keep the powder dry. Stay safe. Enjoy those knives.